Hello, in today's video we will be talking about conservation of the Atlantic bluefin tuna. The Atlantic bluefin is a large marine fish averaging at around 250 kilograms in weight and about 2.5 meters in length, though many individuals grow quite a bit larger than this, with some individuals growing up to twice this size. They are apex predators in the ecosystems they inhabit, with few natural predators when at full size. They mostly eat smaller fish, crustaceans, and cephalopods such as mackerel, sardines, krill, and squid, and any other creatures that are small enough for them to swallow whole. They are a keystone species that plays a crucial role in maintaining the balance of smaller marine organism populations. These fish can be found throughout the North Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea, while they migrate between breeding waters and ideal feeding locations. They were once also native to the Black Sea, but have since been extirpated due to overfishing. While spawning, a single female can lay up to 40 million eggs. However, only about 0.1% of these individuals survive past their first year of life. Prior to the 1960s, bluefin were not a highly desirable fish for commercial fisheries. However, it was somewhat sought after for sport fishing, with many fisheries off the coast of Nova Scotia and New England practicing catch and release tactics with regards to bluefin. With the American occupation of Japan after World War II, the Japanese had become more accustomed to red meat, instead of the traditional white meat of the yellowfin tuna. This resulted in an increase in interest of the bluefin tuna within the Japanese markets with regards to sushi and sashimi. Many North American and European fisheries responded to this new market by focusing their efforts more on the fishing of bluefin tuna within the Atlantic Ocean. This new interest in bluefin tuna happened to align with the advent of new fishing tactics, such as longline fishing and purse seiner nets that could collect massive numbers of fish at a time. This, combined with the rise of refrigeration, meant that fishing vessels could spend months out at sea collecting huge numbers of fish to supply the growing Japanese consumer demand and the American canning industry. These new fishing methods, along with the lack of regulations for bluefin fishing, meant that not only were the adult tuna highly targeted by fisheries, but also the juvenile tuna that had not yet reached sexual maturity. Often these juveniles were raised in captivity until they reached full size, where they were then harvested without ever having the chance to spawn a new generation of tuna. Due to these practices, today's bluefin population are down by as much as 82% of what they once were before the 1970s. This chart by the International Commission for the Conservation of Atlantic Tuna shows the dramatic decrease in the estimated number of tuna 9 years and older that were likely present in the Atlantic over 40 years. As you can see, by 2010 there were only about 20% as many bluefin as were present in 1970. This decline in population landed the bluefin tuna a spot on the World Wildlife Fund's endangered species list, as well as the endangered species list for Kosawick. In 2007, the ICCAT implemented a bluefin recovery plan that restricted the global fishing quotas of bluefin tuna in hopes of increasing their wild populations. Initially, this plan showed a success in increasing the bluefin's populations. However, as the population began to show signs of recovering, the ICCAT decided to increase global fishing quotas once again, as shown by this chart on the right. Even today, the ICCAT does not hesitate to increase their recommended fishing quotas at even the slightest increase in population. In 2020, there was a 9% increase in Atlantic bluefin populations, and in response to this, the ICCAT decided to increase the recommended fishing quotas for North American and Western European countries by 16% for 2021. According to the ICCAT, these practices have reduced the Atlantic bluefin from being endangered to that of least concern, even though their populations are nowhere near what they once were. This is in contrast with the fact that the World Wildlife Fund still considers the bluefin tuna to be an endangered species on their endangered species list. So what else can be done to try and recover the population of the bluefin tuna? One solution that is showing great promise is the implementation of new bluefin hatchery and farming techniques. In 1987, a Japanese company called Maruha Nichiro began research to try and raise Pacific bluefin tuna in an entirely closed system, from eggs to fully grown adults. But due to lack of success, the program was shut down in 1997. However, in 2006, they tried again and have succeeded in raising entirely captive bred bluefin tuna. Their first successful shipment of fully grown bluefin tuna was shipped out in 2015. Similar techniques to these have begun in the United States with Pacific and Atlantic bluefin hatcheries, the first of which was created in San Diego. Not only is this process becoming more successful, but is also becoming more and more sustainable as modern hatcheries are beginning to implement plant protein-based tuna feed rather than the traditional prey they feed on in the wild. For more information and to learn more about the details of bluefin farming, consider visiting the following sites. These will be linked in the description below. Although bluefin farming may be the future of sustainability for this species in the wild, there is still a long way to go before this becomes the method of choice. But you can help to create this future by spreading information and awareness. I highly suggest checking out the links in the description to learn more about captive breeding of bluefin tuna. I would also like to ask that you take the time to consider writing to your federal government about any concerns you may have about the conservation of this amazing fish. The more interest that the public shows in the protection plans such as these, the more likely it is that the government may take interest and contribute to furthering the development of sustainable hatchery technologies. Thank you for watching this video, and that's all for now. I hope you have a great day.